taking a step back, you mentioned being born in the 50s. Obviously, you're around the time of the atomic bomb drops, and one of the most infamous, historically highlighted projects of nuclear weapons is the Manhattan Project. And during the Manhattan Project, it was a unique time because the urgency of building the bomb often outweighed safety concerns. Can you talk about the high risk environment of the Manhattan Project and how that urgency shaped nuclear science at the time?
Ooh, boy. I went to school, Georgia Tech, and started in 1969. Had physics professors who'd worked on the Manhattan Project. Uh, Back then, you could talk to guys about it, and it was all top secret, still was top secret, but you could get them loosened up. And
Couple glasses of Hennessy.
yeah,
They'll tell you where they're getting their uranium supply from.
yeah, yeah, it was, and we at Georgia Tech, we didn't just have a reactor; we had three reactors.
You mentioned there were only a couple deaths during the Manhattan Project, despite the loose safety concerns, uranium doors being left unlocked.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear any stories from your professors around that time? Maybe something they shouldn't have told you, or just something that stuck with you throughout the years that you heard from a professor who was working on the Manhattan Project?
Uh, One guy who I will not name uh, was teaching people how to assemble the bombs,
Oh God.
and that was a very dangerous thing to do because uh, you know uh, you had to.
He's not even a physics teacher. He's like teaching geology. He's like, guys, I'm gonna teach you how to make a bomb today.
Well, he was teaching people during the
Yeah.
Manhattan Project. It was
Yeah.
all secret, but he could loosen up and he could tell me what they were doing and how dangerous it was. They when they started building uh, the implosion bombs using plutonium is much more complicated than the assembly bomb used in the first one they dropped. Incredibly, the first bomb they ever dropped was on Hiroshima, and it was never tested. That was the first explosion they'd ever had out of uranium in that bomb.
Hmm.
But the problem with that thing is that it was a cylinder with a hole in it, and it was supposed to then mate with a, a, a cylinder that would fill up the hole and make it a supercritical assembly. And if you dropped the thing and it fell on the ground, it could assemble itself and explode. And they were very concerned about that. So they put copper screws in it to keep it from assembling by itself. You could drop it and it would hit the screws and stop. And the only way you get through the screws was to put some big block of gun cotton behind it and blow it in like it was a, a howitzer or something, and
Hmm.
it would do that. But then there was the plutonium bomb, and for that you had this sphere plutonium, and you had to put that on the end of a stick and insert it into the center of the bomb. And then you put the explosive over it. The trouble is, it had around that thing, around the bomb, it had a layer made of uranium 238. They used the uranium 238 because it was heavy. It was not a readily fused uh, uh, isotope like uranium-235. You can make a bomb out of it, but it was uranium still, and it would go radioactive when you hit it with neutrons. And they
Mm,
would put this plutonium sphere in the thing and have to go through a hole in this uranium cover. And as it went through, the thing would go supercritical. So you're starting a nuclear reaction just by assembling the thing. And they had to do it quickly, or it would melt down and it would kill everybody within
yeah,
30 feet of it. And that was something that you had to teach these guys how to do. Put
yeah,
it in, don't hesitate, and don't pay any attention to the Geiger counters that are going crazy when you do it. And that seemed very dangerous to me. It would be easy to drop it, or lose it, and thing would go off.
yeah. And you had a professor that was just going through all of this in class. Just by the way, guys, if you're wondering why I submitted your papers late last week, it was because I was building an atomic bomb, and this is how you do it.
He wouldn't do it during the classroom. I had to go to him after class.
Okay, yeah. So it was more of an after hours special.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.